Hello Aries, Aries rising, and Aries moon people. This is your astrological forecast for the month of November 2016. And if you haven't noticed yet, that is my way of saying you should probably look at all of yours to see which resonates with you strongest. And if you ever want to get a personal session with me that is about your chart and your forecast, you can always go to my website, integrativemysticism.com. And those of you who are interested in weekly horoscopes, my weekly horoscopes now cover astrology as well. The first half of each weekly horoscope does have astrology. It goes astrology first half, second half cards. So there's something in it for everybody. So what is going on this month for you? Well, the nice thing about November is we've got a little bit of everything, a little bit of everywhere, which is kind of what I think people like to see when it comes to horoscopes. I can tell that sometimes people are not really fans of, sometimes the planets going into their roving clumps in one area versus another. And the nice thing about November is we've got some diversity. On the 9th of the month, we have our first big move, and that is going to be when Mars, the planet of action, energy, passion, and demonstration, actually moves into your 11th house of friendships and social networking. And all month, it's all about people proving themselves and proving their loyalty. And for you, this is about your friends, your buddies, your brothers and sisters from other mothers actually stepping up to the plate and really volunteering to prove their loyalty to you in ways you might not necessarily be asking for, but in ways you'll surely appreciate. And this can always be, sort of a nice turn of events. Sometimes we don't necessarily think too much about how close we can get to this, second family of ours. And all throughout this month, it's all about getting closer to this clique and to this group. These are people who are going to be basically volunteering their services, their efforts, and their energies to you. This could actually help out in other areas as well, especially when it comes to the realm of finance. And finance is definitely going to keep staying kind of a big theme, especially in the first half of the month, when Venus, the planet of love, affection, harmony, and romance, moves into your 10th house of career, where Venus actually kind of puts on more of a suit and tie, but at the same time is still working on bringing you easy opportunities. Because when Venus goes into a money sector, like the 10th or the 2nd, all of a sudden what was, this romantic attraction energy is turning into good luck, good fortune, and favor. And this is going to be sort of a conveyor belt kind of a month. You're going to be noticing advancement opportunities being offered to you, not only sporadically, but actually seeking you out. With Venus in the 10th house, or again, in any money house for that matter, it can usually indicate easy money and easy, quick earnings. Perhaps even a sudden, unexpected increase to what you normally used to take home on a monthly or weekly basis. And so a lot of that energy is going to be bringing, going to be coming in, right around the 11th and staying with us all the way up to the beginning of December. On the 12th, we've got Mercury, the planet of communication, haste, and urgency, moving into your 9th house, Sagittarius. And this is all about expanding awareness of you, but also expanding on your education, your skill, and your reach. Because the 9th house is all about our, I guess you could say, expanded awareness when it comes to not only our education, but it can talk about our spiritual education. It could talk about academia, of course. This is great for those of you who are students, those of you who are taking tests, entrance exams. This is great for anyone who is actually working on getting a certification, getting a license, because this also talks about government and legal proceedings. If there's been any kind of bureaucracy in the works, anything kind of holding things up, making things go too slow, if you've been trying to work on getting a permit, getting travel plans out of the way, or getting them locked down, this is the kind of energy you want to see here. And this isn't the first bit of energy getting injected into this part of your chart. This is also a great time to consider broadcasting yourself if you've been trying to do a marketing campaign for a business that you have, especially if you work online or overseas. Mercury is going to be playing some serious catch-up and get ahead from the 12th on. Okay, so it looks like it's so good so far. Well, what's going to happen on the 14th is going to be kind of an interesting twist, because with a full moon in your second house, your earned income sector, there seems to be some kind of a need for a culmination or an ending in the workplace. And this does not look to be like a negative aspect, absolutely not. But what it does feel like is that you're going to be forced to make some kind of a sacrifice or some kind of a cut of ties that may be a little bit painful on the inside. Every once in a while, we do find a good opportunity that means we have to maybe leave the workforce that we are in for a better job, possibly saying goodbye to a familiar schedule or some familiar faces. This could actually be what happens around this time, between the 14th and the 28th. This can also indicate maybe some difficult discussions this month about cutting out unnecessary expenses, especially if for the longest time they've been considered maybe an essential family or business investment that is not necessarily paying off. Okay, so you kind of got a weird moment in this time where being practical might not necessarily be popular. And I know that's always kind of a tough thing to do when it comes to handling how people are acting or reacting to these kinds of things, but it is for the best. The nice thing about this full moon is again, it's still falling into that energy range of getting you more financial strength, but also at the same time getting rid of obligations or issues that you may have that have been tying you up from getting ahead, even though they may seem like investments. Be careful about trying to reinvest too much this month. On the 19th, we have Neptune, the planet of illusions, inspiration, dreams, spirituality, and just a little bit of, let's just say habit-forming tendencies, turning direct in your 12th house. And with Neptune being direct or retrograde doesn't really make it good or bad. It doesn't make it positive, it doesn't make it negative, it just remains neutral. That's how outer planets, especially Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto, operate. And since June, it's been actually quite easy for a lot of Aries people to kind of put on the X-ray goggles instead of the rose-colored glasses when it comes to assessing old issues from their past and looking at maybe their old conditioning. A lot of you, if you've been doing your homework, have been kind of working on actually seeing the past, whether it's people from your past or circumstances from your past, for as they really were, not how nostalgia may have colored them. But that might not have always been the same jive for everyone, because a lot of people can disagree about how things really were. And sometimes people can also disagree about whom was really whom. Now, when Neptune turns direct in your 12th house in your past, it's time to kind of take a hard look over the next 6 months at your own, I guess you could say, personal creative expression, your spiritual practice, as well as, how you identify with your cultural roots. Because when Neptune turns direct, we may also need to be facing certain kinds of illusions about our relationship to these things. And that can kind of create a little bit of an identity crisis at times. The important thing to understand, though, is that we are actually kind of removing the rough from the diamond during this time. And sometimes in order to move forward, we have to understand what illusions are holding us back, especially when it comes to how we identify with that which we think formed us as a human being. On the 21st, we've got the Sun moving into your 9th house of that higher expansion, higher learning, higher communications, and reach. And it's going to be working over getting more out of your reach, out of your social reach. And we've also got a new moon in this area right a week afterwards. And so with this plus Mercury, plus Saturn, plus the Sun in the 9th house, we're actually looking at hooking you up with people this time and finding, I guess you could say, stronger influences or stronger leaders for you to follow, or maybe mentors for you to apprentice under, maybe officially, maybe not officially, in the interest of actually kind of growing again either your spiritual or academic prowess. What can really happen with this is that you're starting to understand a little bit more about how necessary it is to not have gurus, but have mentors instead during this time. And especially during this time, because there are a lot of folks out there that are kind of looking for the gurus and the saviors and the one they can kind of lean on. but who's helping you stand up instead, especially when it comes to, helping you understand where you don't need to outsource so much to others, especially when you can never leave it up to another person to know 110% your needs are. And a lot of this is also talking about evolving, I guess you could say, your talents and abilities in a way that actually not only updates, but perhaps even surpasses what is considered the current standard, whether this is an artistic, creative, or spiritual pursuit. So it's actually looking like a lot of Aries people are sort of getting the teaser on a lot of updates that a lot of other people are not going to be getting. So that is your forecast. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate it. And of course, if you'd like to get a session, you can always follow the links below or go to integrativemysticism.com.